We are the Roses, missionaries sent out from the Bible Way Baptist Church in Houston, Texas, to the uttermost part of the earth. Today, I want to take you to a land that you have probably heard about, but know very little of. It is a large country which encompasses an array of dramatic landscapes. A tour of this country may include sandy beaches, high mountains, and sweltering jungles. Its long coast is studded with cliffs and hills and popular beaches. The southern coast recedes into a desert with stunning sand dunes in parts. The populace of this country ranges from modern cities to agricultural villages. In this country, you will find some of the world's most striking sights, which include the Colca Canyon, the Rainbow Mountains, the Nazca Lines, and even one of the 7 wonders of the world. This land is the country of Peru. As a single missionary in 1982, while working with my father, missionary Gerald Rose, I started the Calvary Baptist Church in Puente Alto, near Santiago, Chile. In 1984, I married Celeste. After a year of deputation, we moved to the southern region of Chile, to the city of Puerto Montt, with our 2-month-old son, Daniel. While there, we started the Central Baptist Church in Puerto Montt. In 1990, we started the Central Baptist Church of Calbuco. We were able to purchase property, build a building, and leave behind an organized church with its pastor, Brother Freddy Herrera. In 1994, we left Chile and moved to the country of Peru, where we believe the Lord had called me several years before. To get the lay of the land, and in obedience to my pastor, I worked as an evangelist, preaching in many cities and villages all across the country. During this time, our son, Andrew Gerald, went home to be with the Lord. As I traveled, I found the Central Baptist Church in Huánuco in desperate need of help. After seeking the face of the Lord, He led me to this church, where we saw the hand of the Lord move in tremendous ways, seeing many souls saved and believers baptized. In 1997, we helped start the Hebron Baptist Church in Tingo Maria. This church was instrumental for the cause of missions around Peru, hosting annual missions conferences and youth camps. This church is prospering under the leadership of its pastor, Brother Isaac Ore. It was in the year 2000 we moved to the city of Lima, being led of the Lord to start a work. Almost immediately, I received a Macedonian call to go to Villa El Salvador. It was obvious that this part of the city desperately needed the gospel of Jesus Christ. We planted the Old Paths Baptist Church. Through prayers and preaching, the Lord built His work in that area. It was a sacred privilege seeing souls saved and baptized, one of them being the pastor of a future church, Brother Wilfredo Flores. Out of this church was birthed the Berea Baptist Church, where Wilfredo Flores is the pastor. For 4 years, we prayed for property for this church while they were meeting in a garage. I received a phone call from Pastor John Allen, who is the pastor of the Emmanuel Baptist Church in South Haven, Indiana, telling me of an elderly Peruvian pastor that wanted to donate a building to the work in Lima. We arranged for Brother Julian Ikegawa to come to Peru to sign the property over to the church. The building sorely needed renovation. After a major overhaul, we dedicated the building in 2015, where the gospel is still being preached, people are still being saved and baptized. It was in 2008 that we moved up to the city of Huancayo, a city in the mountains with an elevation of 11,000 feet above sea level. We began working with the Primera Iglesia Bautista de Huancayo, the church that my father helped start back in the 1950s. Because of the severe need, I was asked to come and help restore the work. Upon arrival, we led the church to call upon the Lord in prayer for the various needs that the church had. The Lord sent along some powerful preachers of the Word of God, men like Pastor John Allen, Pastor Douglas Meader, Brother Bob Presswood, and the evangelist Paul Schwanke. In 2007, there was a devastating earthquake that ravaged the country of Peru, which resulted in many public buildings being condemned, our church being one of them. The Lord drew His work, and many souls were saved. Believers were baptized. In December 2015, we turned the work over to its present pastor, Brother Christian Soto. Out of this church, we started the work in Urpaycancha, where Brother Octavio Rojas is preaching. We also started the work in the town of Asa, where Brother Joel Alzamora is preaching. Another work was started in the town of Oxapampa, where Brother Carlos Sanchez did the preaching. After much prayer and seeking the Lord's face, we moved to the city of Jauja in 2017, where we started the Bible Way Baptist Church, where the Lord has placed us presently. By God's grace, many are being saved and baptized. We received a Macedonian call from the brethren in Callao, asking us to help them become a scriptural New Testament Baptist church. In 2018, Celeste and I made the trip to meet the brethren, set up a place of worship where they are still congregating to this day. Pray for Brother Juan Urbina as he preaches and leads this congregation. We are currently in the United States trying to raise the funds to build an earthquake-proof auditorium for the Primera Iglesia Bautista de Huancayo. By faith, we hired an architect to design an auditorium that would satisfy the demands of the government and be adequate for worship. The government demands parking space and a foundation that could support 7 stories. The financial requirement for meeting these demands is a cost of approximately $300,000. Pray with us that the Lord's will be done in this matter.